Okay, so this is the second video on how to be working through my backpack. The first video showed you how to set up your gradebook, so definitely if you've not done that video first, do that video. That will make sure you can get to this page, where if you're back in the home setting, again, under My Classes, if you go to Daily Gradebook, you will have options here. If they are not up here, if they're down here, that's where you need to go back to the other video. I'm going to go into Period 2, though. And I've got my physics class here again, still logged in under Sheila Cruz, and you can see the quarter one, quarter two, etc., and the roster. Now, one thing, it'll start to get really crowded with all this stuff here, and so one nice feature is up at the top, you can view just certain quarters. So if you just want to have your attention focused on first quarter, for instance, you can do that and notice all the other stuff goes away. Now, don't forget when quarter two goes around, after October 5th, you may think all your assignments left, and that's because they're just not viewing anymore. So I'm going to leave it at all marking periods for now, but that is a nice feature. You can also sort, if you only want to look at all your homeworks or all your quizzes, that's a great feature. If you want to drop the lowest quiz, for instance, you can view just quizzes and then very quickly see which quiz is the lowest for every student. Here, I don't really ever use that feature, so I won't worry about it. Some of the things over the top, you can see here, I don't know, there's probably 9 or so columns there. Once you have a lot of assignments, it'll only show 10. But let's say you want to have 20 columns because you have a ton of stuff. You can do that. Type in 20, hit enter, and that will be there. Of course, I don't have 20 yet. So, and then scrolling, when you have a lot of assignments, you'll be clicking these arrows to scroll right or scroll left. And usually they'll scroll 5 columns at a time. But if you have a lot to scroll through, you can do more. So first thing I'm going to do is add assignment. This is the most common feature you're going to be using in My Backpack. And the name of the assignment, use it clear. Students and parents will be able to see this. So I'm going to type in Unit 1 Test, abbreviation. I'm just hitting Tab to navigate between here if that's what you're wondering. Abbreviation, I'm just going to type in U1 Test. The assign date is not required. Notice it's not starred red. If you want to have a assign date, I usually do, but I think it's just up to you and the habit you're in. August 16th, let's say that's the beginning of the unit, so I'm going to announce the test. And then we're going to choose the due date. This is the date the test is on, so August 31st, let's say. Doesn't matter, of course. And then the group. And notice these are the groups that we created in the other video under Setup, and again, you can watch that video to see how to do that. I'm going to click Test, of course. And notice that max points automatically reset from 0 to 100 because I have the default max points set for a test as 100. So again, that's kind of a nice feature. This count as, it's kind of actually grayed out. You can't change anything. That's because that would be how you count it as, I'm going to have this paper count as 2 test grades or whatever it is. Sometimes teachers will say that. That's where you change it. Again, you hardly use it, so I wouldn't even worry about it. I never check these. I don't know what those are. Apply these dates to all selected sections. Let's say you're going to have the same test on the same day in Period 3 Physics. Of course, that does vary based on the rotation of the schedule. I'm going to click Copy To. This is a terrible feature because it has the group name, notice, does not copy over. So be careful. There have been teachers who got in a hurry and assumed, rightly so, that you would think it'd copy over, but it doesn't. So make sure if you're going to copy other classes, make sure you have to manually change that group name, which is a big pain. It looks like you may have to create the assigned date as well and the due date. And that is helpful if you know that based on a rotation, the test in Period 3 is going to be on a different day. That's where you can modify it. And let's just see if that works. Let's do the 29th. I'm going to hit Submit. And it's going to think for a second. And then notice my Unit 1 test is down here. And this is where I can type in the score, 80. I can hit Tab to go down, 90, 70, 100, tab, 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 okay? And then once I enter the grades, I need to scroll down and click Apply so that it sets. And notice what happens. It automatically starts to populate because quarter 1 is calculating certain things. And so this grade goes into quarter 1 because semester 1 is half of quarter 1, basically. It goes here, and notice the final grade, which is half of semester 1, goes here. So pretty quickly you can see how it's calculating all the way through the year. I'm going to navigate to Period 3 just to see if our test copied correctly. And notice it is on the 29th. That's good. And very nice, very nice. Good, good, good. So go back to Period 2. Some features up here, I don't think these are default features, and so I'm going to show you. This is really nice. If you're curious, how did kids do? What was the class average? You don't have to sit down with a calculator and figure it out. It's up here at the top. And there's a lot of settings you can choose from to see that. And that is over here up at the right. There's this little gear, and that's your settings, or preferences, I guess they call it. Click on that. You have a lot of options here. Okay, the current school, if you teach in the middle school, this may navigate back and forth. Display portraits and attendance. This is nice when you're taking attendance, which I'll show you here in a second. If you want to see their pictures, you can do that. Let's see, display previous marking periods. When sure, I don't know what that really does. Display transfer to withdrawn students. This is helpful if you have a student who's left your class and you want to somehow see what their grade was before they left. You can check that. I usually leave it unchecked just to keep it clean and neat. Display sections in order. Sure, that's fine. I don't really ever do anything with that. Last name, sure, fine. Preferred names, fine. I don't really do much with this. The field, this is where we found the average. You see where that average is checked. That's showing the average. If I max points, I think is also helpful because sometimes if I have a lot of assignments with different points, I may think something's out of 100 points when it's out of 50 points, and I get everything mixed up. So displaying max points is really helpful. You can also display the group name. So if you want to find where your test or homework is, you can display the due date. I think that's helpful to see. Assignment name, assignment abbreviation. That's probably redundant, but that's up to you, of course. I'm going to uncheck abbreviation. Count as number of assignments. So if you want to know how many homeworks have I given, I think that will give you homework 1, homework 2, homework 3. Again, if you want the median over the average or the standard deviation, I mean, who are you if you want that? And then published to students and parents. That is the default. And you should check graded. And that's very important to have graded there. Click submit. And notice, I think the abbreviation went away. I did change that. The average is there still because I did not change that. And that is a very helpful feature. So the gear has a lot of settings that you're going to want to have. Let me see here if there's anything else. I'm going to go back to the home page while I've got you and go over 2 more things. Number 1 is attendance. Very important to take attendance every day. And it's very, very important. So it's August 3rd right now, 2018. So welcome from the past, or hello to the future. We don't have any classes that day, thankfully. And so I'm going to not have it. So 15th. It's our first day of school. I'm going to click on the 15th and click go. So I can go travel in time, and I can see my attendance. You can do this on your phone, your laptop, your iPad, anything you got that can access the internet can access my backpack. The default setting is present. All right, you can see our students here. They've got their pictures because we checked that box. Again, once you get to know the kids, you don't want their pictures, go back to preferences, uncheck. Click submit. Notice it's a little cleaner. You can see it all at once. It's a lot quicker to take attendance that way. If every student is in class that day, everybody's present, hit apply, attendance has been taken. I'm not going to click apply because I don't want to mess up the first day of school for Sheila. If somebody's absent, let's say Teddy's absent or Alec is absent, click absent. And don't really worry about entering a comment. Julie or Rich will be entering comments if kids are called in sick or things like that. That way to communicate to you. Just click absent. If they're tardy, click tardy, excused. Write a note, don't write a note, it's up to you. And then tardy, unexcused, if they come to class without a note, you should say, you maybe type in no note. And then that is a discipline entry that you'll have to enter later, which Rich can tell you about. So just hit apply, and that's how you will have taken attendance. Attendance is only available on the days where your class meets. So A, B, C, D. So on Tuesday, August 21st, period 2 drops. Okay, so notice for Sheila's attendance, there is no physics period 2 under attendance because the class is not meeting that day. That's kind of a helpful feature. Only the classes that meet on the day you're on will show up. So that's kind of a helpful way to keep it clean. And again, this date changes every day. So if I logged in tomorrow, it's currently August 3rd, so tomorrow it'd be August 4th. So it automatically updates to whatever we're on. And that is attendance. Let me see if there's anything else I'm forgetting. I think progress, we'll go to do progress really quick. Progress is how you create progress reports. It's very helpful. I believe I've entered some grades for period 2. And notice I've got this drop-down menu, grades between. And it's back in January because that was the last time we kind of used it. So I'm going to say August 15th. I'm going to navigate through, let's say, September 1st. Progress or grade. This would just be the grade at the top. I'm going to put quarter 1 because that's the quarter we'd be in. Sort by due date. You can check any of these aspects to show up on the report. Okay. For instance, if you want to show the average score. So if you're going to print a report for a parent and a student's struggling and you want to show that the rest of the class is doing well, maybe that's helpful for your case, you could check that. Down here at the bottom, I don't really ever mess with any of this stuff. I guess if that's kind of neat. If you want your parent to sign it and return it, that generates a parent signature. I'll do that. That's kind of interesting. Special scores, I'll check that. And you can do everybody in your class, which I usually do, or you can just go to selected and check just one student. Okay, so I'm going to leave everybody checked. I'm going to click submit. Oh, nope, sorry. All. Submit. It's going to think about it, and notice we've got a beautiful progress report here. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Notice there's only one grade in here. That's why it tells you the advisor. So this is really helpful for writing comments. The progress grade, of course there's only one grade. He has a B- and 80. The class average is an 85 based on those few I typed in. Notice again you can see the abbreviation, the due date, the test, or the group it's in, the score out of 100, and that's a percentage, the B-, and the average score because we checked that box is there. And then the group summary, if you wanted to see, okay, his homework grade is a 50%, his test is 100%. That will summarize the category weight percentages there, which is nice. And then the parent signature because we chose that option. Notice if I scroll down, I'm getting the whole class because I generated a whole class progress report. And this is what I do before writing comments. I'll generate a progress report and print them off or save them on my desktop. And I'll use these to write my comments. And it really helps. The comments almost write themselves because I'm able to include a lot of numbers very quickly. The test average or the first test was weak, but then the next test got better, that sort of thing. And so notice this popped up as a second window, so I can close that out, and I'm still back at the main page here. That is really, the only thing, the two main things you use for my backpack is going to be daily grades in the gradebook and then the class attendance. You will use this to write grades and comments. Well, that'll be a separate video because that's a little more in depth. So I think that is about it. So between this video and the first one, my backpack, you should be an expert at this point, and feel free to watch the video whenever you like, or come by, see me or Brooks or another teacher who may have more experience in the software. And good luck and happy grading.